Okay, hello, and this is the very short, I hope, drone lesson for players of EVE Online. I'm Mike Azariah, but today I'm flying as you know, because the more you know, the better you can be. And as I said, this is a lesson on drones. I want to do the real basics. One, drones is equivalent in other games to the pet class. Being able to launch something that will shoot for you, does not need reloading, and is fairly effective within range. Drones are mainly a weapon system for the Amar and Galente, but the other two races, Caldari and Minmatar, can use them, just not as efficiently, and they do not have as many drone hulls. For drones, you need a few basic things right off the bat. First is skills, second is drones, and third is a hull that actually can fly drones. So I want to go over the skills first. I stopped a character right near the beginning so that I'm as new can be, and I want to show you where the drone skills are found. If you open up your character sheet, you can click on the top left and do that, and it will bring out the character sheet, and if this isn't showing, then you click on the skills, and it shows three sections. Upper section I call the graphics section, shows what your net worth, where your home base is, who you are, what you look like. Middle section is the skills that you have injected, but not always the ones that you know, and the ones that are possible. So if I look at drones, you can see there are three skills listed here, but I've only got drones trained to level 1. And that is not good enough to fly any drones currently. So while we're talking, we're going to drag that down. I need to get drones up to level 3 prior to being able to use them decently. I also need an additional skill. The additional skill that you need, you can see, is not in this, oh, there it is, light drone operation. But you notice if I try to drag that down, it says you can only add skills you already have, which means I don't have that skill. If I right click that, I can view market details and see that it is for sale in a whole bunch of places. I cannot emphasize this enough. Unless you want to do a lot of traveling, buy from the station that you're in, especially when it's exactly the same price. So if I click that, right click that and say buy this, it says okay, give us 50,000, which is the going market for that skill. I say buy, and nothing happens. I go back to my skill set, and it still is grayed out because I haven't injected the skill. So if I go to my inventory and my item hanger, you'll see that right here I have light drone skill operation. I can right click that and say inject skill. The skill now appears right here. It says it'll take 17 minutes to train, and I can drag it into the queue now. Now I need all of this before I can use the appropriate skills, and I really don't want to sit here and have you watch a video of me doing nothing for the next 8 hours and 15 minutes or so. So I use my unallocated skill points and say done.
Skill training completed.
I now have sufficient skills, and I'm going to take light skill drone operation up to the second one, just because I like having 2 levels in it, at least.
Skill training completed.
And I got that far into the tutorial before I decided to do this. So I now have drone skills up. I have light drone operation, which, as you can see, 5% damage per light drone, and drone skill says I can operate 1 drone per skill level. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to set drones on to train, because like I said, this is a drone bunny character, you know. So skills are the first thing. Second thing is hull. If you open up your ship fitting, and by the way, it's always nice to click the wrench and have all the hulls off to the side, you can see in the bottom left it shows your cargo hold. I have nothing in my cargo right now, and it shows your drone bay. And you can see I have 0 out of 10 cubic meters that I can use, which means I can actually fit a pair of drones into a good old Venator. Which, this is the Corvette that you start out with. It is not effective. The Venture also can carry 2 light drones, but it does let you use a drone ship right off the bat. Thing is, you need drones. They do not give them to you, so you have to go out and buy them. Place to buy them, of course, is opening up the market, which for some reason always looks like a graph to me, or you can hit Alt-R. Open the market, and the common drone for a lot of people is the Hobgob. I just type Hobgob and search, and it's Hobgoblin 1 is 1. If you open up the information, you can see requirements. We have all the skills necessary for it. When you're buying things, always make sure you have the skills needed for it, or that you can train the skills. If you're an alpha, there are some things that are beyond you. If I take a look at Hobgoblin 2, for example, that's still within my ability. Let's see if I can find something. I know. But if I look at a mining drone and show the info for that, you can see mining drone says I absolutely positively need to be an Omega because there are skills, mining drone specialization, that I cannot train as an alpha character. So just because you're a drone character or even a drone race does not mean that you can now fly all drones. There are limits. Check the info, check the requirements, and always look for that Omega symbol to say yes, whether or not you can do it as an alpha. If you're an Omega, sky's the limit. Go ahead, do what you need to do. But back to Hobgobs. Hobgoblin 1, technically I think Hobgoblin 2, I don't have the skills and I really don't have that much time to wait, so I'll go with Hobgoblin 1s. Somebody's making a bit of ISK. You can buy them elsewhere for 2,800, but that's 8 jumps away, and again, I'm in a bit of a rush, so I'm going to buy for 3,000. Now I'm going to get 2 of them. Cost me a total of 6,000, which in the relative scheme of things is a really cheap weapon system considering you don't need to reload it. So once you've bought them, you open up your inventory, and there's a pair of Hobgoblins right there. And I can just click, hold, and drag and put them up in the drone bay. And now you can see I have 2 Hobgoblin 1s in my drone bay, which means I am ready to rock. Boop. So when you want to use drones, you need to have a hull that can use drones. If I put them in the just the cargo hold of the ship, they are not operational. I can ship them somewhere, but I can't use them. So you need to have the drones, you need to have a drone bay, and you need to have sufficient skills to actually use the drones. Once you have those 3 things, you're ready to rock and you can go out and use them. Now when you undock, a new thing will appear that you haven't had before if you haven't used drones, and that is a drone control box that actually shows your drones in the bay. If you click that, you can actually see them sitting there. It says I got 2 of them, but I'm going to right click and say move drones. I'm going to create a group called Hobs, and now they're in their own little sub folder. If you have one of the bigger drone ships, you really do want to sort them out and not desperately be looking through a list trying to find the drones that you want. Now with the Hobs, I can say mark group as favorite for launching. Now what this means is if I use a hotkey to actually launch my drones, I can hit one key and bang, the drones are out in space, which is really handy. I'm going to get clear of the crowd here.
Warp drive active.
So we have a drone bay, and now comes the part where I want to talk about the shortcuts. There is not a default for launch drones, but it's a really handy thing to make, so I'm going to set that up right now while I'm moving over to a planet. So I hit the escape key, and it brings up, you have display and graphics, audio and all that, but you actually see there's a tab labeled shortcuts. If you do that, you can see there's a tab labeled drones. It opens by default to window, but I click on drones, and I'm going to go down, and you can see there is a button for launch drones, but there is no shortcut. Right click, edit shortcut, and I use number pad 3 to launch. While I'm at it, return to drone bay to bring them back is normally Shift R. Personally, I like the number 2, numpad 2 for return, and attack is normally default F, but I'm going to edit it and make it numpad 1. So number pad 1, 2, and 3 are my controls for my drones. You don't have to do this, it's just something I like doing so I can actually do this. Problem is, I need something to fight, and I'm unlikely to find it here. So I'll probably clip this part out, mark, and Oh, look, something to fight. A rogue swarm nest just popped up. Perfect. Now, rogue swarm nest can eat me alive, and probably will, but we'll see how to use drones in the meantime. So I'm going to warp to within 30 of it.
Drive active.
Forgot to repair my ship after the last little incident. Don't even have ammo for my gun because I'm taking this one out naked, so the only thing I will lose is drones if and when bad things happen, which they're really likely to do. You know, they always in the opening tell you to orbit things. When you're a drone person, you orbit. You spend a lot of time moving around, so you got a better chance of not being shot. A moving target is harder to hit. Now, they're out there, they're targeting me, they're actually going to be shooting me fairly fairly soon. And my targeting range on a Velator is 24 kilometers, so I actually can't tell them to do anything. But I can get the drones. I've hit the drone launch, and they're out there. If you get your drones out, you can set them to passive or aggressive. I'm going to set to aggressive, and I'm also going to tell them to focus fire. That's that tiny little hamburger to the left of drones. This is your drone control box. You can set your settings to that. The nice thing is, if your drones are out and set to aggressive before the bad guys start shooting at you, they will react when you are shot at. So if I don't do anything, as soon as these guys finish targeting me and start shooting, there will be an issue. Now somebody else is on this site obviously shooting things, but I'd like to get in on this. And seeing as I'm not waiting for them to shoot me, I hit 1 to attack, and my drones are on their way after the wrecker, the first thing that was selected, the first targeted object. And they're out doing very nice damage. If you were actually doing the tutorial, you know that civilian gun they gave you was doing 1s and 5s. And now I've got something that's doing 30 damage. So this is 10 times better. The drones are 10 times better than the civilian gun that you had. So watch the damage notification when they actually get there. Now drones do have to get there. 1841 on the first attack. 28 and 30. And notice I'm taking 4 and 5 damage. So I'm taking a bit of damage, but relatively speaking, I'm given a whole lot better than I'm getting. My problem is I'm in a Velator, which means any damage to me is pretty much going to end me in short notice. There's somebody else out here with me in a Vexor and a Catalyst. The Vexor is the cruiser that is a drone boat, so he's probably doing great and has a whole bunch of his out there. Notice that my drones are beyond my range. I can't target anything, but they're out there fighting right now, various things. And while I'm at it, and while they're off fighting, you can see there are 3 bars here. And these are the shields, armor, and hull of the individual hobgoblins. So if you see one starts taking a lot of damage and needs some help, you can actually recall him and say, come back home. And he will come back and slowly recharge shields while inside your bay. Other damage you're going to have to heal at a base, or if you're carrying a remote rep. So, set them off on their merry little way to get in trouble. Notice I have not used my guns a single time. If you do use your guns and target something and the drones haven't started attacking, they will follow suit and attack whatever you're attacking in aggressive mode. But they're doing a great little job right now. So if I hit F1 and attack with my guns, the drones pick up the pace and head off for that. Me, I like to use my drone guns and drones separately, so I'm not prone to use gun tracing for the drones, but keeping all your fire on one ship, seeing as it does diminish in combat until it's destroyed. Spreading your fire is not a good idea when you're starting out. You're far better to focus everything on one enemy at a time, destroy it, move on to the next. So we're finishing off this mission, which, when we get the rest of it blown up, we gotta kill these 3 things. So, to go over it one more time, and then I'll probably log off as I get the reward for running this site with the nice guys of Razor, and who was the other one? Torfin, who showed up on the site. When you're in public sites like event sites, people do come in and they can take the stuff or not take the stuff. I think it's very nice of them, and I just won a fireworks package. When the battle is over, there are no targets left, nothing left to shoot. Then always remember to call your drones back to your bay. If you warp off, the drones will stay there. If you go to some battle sites, you'll see lonely little abandoned drones. You can scoop them up and give them a new home. But this is why I have the 3 number pads. 3 to launch, 2 to call home. I hit 2. And my drones are back in the bay. Now I can warp off or do whatever, and everything will be fine. This is kind of interesting because they're having a discussion as to whether or not I get the loot, and somebody else did get the kill on this. And has looted it. I think, yeah, has looted it. And that is the end of the tutorial on drones. If you have questions, email Mike Azariah or send a note to and I will try to have another tutorial in the near future. But for now, I and my happy little drones are going to log off.